Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot. Very happy to be here today. So I have ISMAEL PEREZ and BABRY OREN with me as guests. And we're going to be talking about, actually, I think it's called FOLIUM, a product that BABRY has. And I assume maybe some related subjects since Ishmael is also here. And maybe Ishmael, you want to start off with an introduction to BABRY since he's your friend.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'm excited to be here because I've actually been taking this product, Folium PX and Folia Immuno, for over 2 years now, and I definitely see the difference. It's a product that not only I've been taking myself, but it's a product that a lot of my family and friends and also a lot of my followers on my YouTube channel have been taking, and all I'm hearing is good reviews so far. And I'm excited because, a lot of people always ask me, how do I get rid of the graphene? How do I get rid of the metals that we, absorb from the chemtrails, from the foods that the metals are everywhere, guys. We're literally, everything's weaponized to keep you guys stuck in the 3D, all right? So the best way to get rid of these metals is by this product that was invented by my good friend BABRY, who is here today, who actually has won many awards in the holistic naturopathic remedy industry, because there's been a lot of testimonies that his product, even though it was designed to get rid of all the radiation and metals, but to a larger extent, a lot of people that have been suffering from the C word. I don't know if this is going to be on Fluff Tooth, but I don't want to C word.
I don't have any of those things. I'm banned.
Okay.
Banned on Fluff Tooth.
A Fluff Tooth? Okay, so I guess I could just not monitor myself, but a lot of reports from people that had cancer and tumors have also, due to their testimonies, have testified that this product has actually worked better than chemotherapy. Because, as you know, chemotherapy is also bad. It's actually causing the situation to be worse. Anything that comes from the pharmaceutical cartel is not good for you, and I'm sure a lot of people know that. So I'm excited to have BABRY here, who could actually explain a little bit more about this product that has actually been helping a lot of people get rid of these toxins, these graphene oxides in people's bodies. And just because you guys didn't get jabbed doesn't mean that you guys don't have the graphene oxide. There is this thing called spike protein. So if you are even in a room with somebody who got the second, third, and fourth jab, chances are is that some of those nanoparticulates also jumped into your body, into your bloodstream. So due to the times that we're living in, this is the time to really clean your body, because it is an invasion from within. They're not the most advanced, let's just be real here, the most advanced intelligence out there, whether they are biological or cyber artificial, they don't invade externally, they invade from within. That's how they take over worlds. So this is a literal invasion of people's bodies. And due to having access to the galactic records, a lot of worlds have failed as a result of being invaded through their bodies. A lot of biological specimens have become cyborgs or have become machines due to this gradual invasion that is now taking place here in our world. So I'm grateful for BABRY, who is here on the great fight to save the organic way of life. And I would like to just have him kind of explain what these products are for your viewers, because I know your viewers are very awake and they know what's happening, Carrie. You've been on this cutting research and interviewing the most amazing whistleblowers and insiders for a long time. So if BABRY could explain more about this product, that would be great.
Okay, and BABRY, I don't know what happened to your video. Is it not working?
No, I don't just disconnect the video. I have, hold on one second, let me see.
I'm sorry?
Do you see now?
Okay, yes, that's
okay. We're all set. Okay, Carrie, first of all, thanks for inviting me, and Ishmael, thanks for coming by. By the way, I have to mention before I even start speaking, I do have a heavy accent. I speak 7 languages, but none of them is good, so bear with me here. What we have is the product that helps body to help itself. It does not cure anything, does not heal anybody, nothing, zero. All it does, it helps the body to help itself. And the way it goes is this. There can be only two reasons for any ailment, whether it's a simple sneezing or fourth stage of a cancer. One is genetic, the other one is environmental. And environmental is also two reasons. Number one is you have something in your body you should not have, or you have a deficiency of something you should have. And the things that you should not have is excessive toxic heavy metals. We have to have all the metals what soil has. We are made out of soil. Think of it. Think about it. The baby is conceived after 9 months of feeding the mother from the soil. The baby is born. So every baby is nothing but the soil plus life energy. Now, if you have anything more than you should have, that becomes toxic, and that expedites the life itself. It makes life very short. Early aging, early death. But these products, they remove all those elements, mostly toxic heavy metals, free radicals, radiation, and also deals with the oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is the biggest single element that kills everybody. When the oxidative stress index is high, you watch it, then forget it. It does its damage, and sometimes you can help, sometimes it's too late. Most of the cases is too late because, first of all, people are unaware. Big pharma does not care as long as they make money until the day you die. And you see, there is no money in the big pharma. Not for the pharma, not for the clinics, not for the not for the hospitals or doctors. There is no money in healthy people. They want to keep us, all of us, sick, and then treat us until they will die. That's how they make their money. But we are fighting back. We'll go for natural, God's given. You see, all these elements that we have in our products have been on the planet since the day planet was born. But nobody thought about it before. I don't know why, but that's the fact. But somehow God gave us his guidance and his approach to make it happen, and we succeeded. I'm thankful, and I'm willing to give it to everybody, anyone, everyone on the planet. And in fact, we are selling on 6 continents, over 60 countries. Europe, Asia, Africa, all over the places. In the United States, every single state.
Okay, and what are the ingredients in your in this FOLIUM?
Okay, we have 3 products. The initial FOLIUM product was created by the Soviet scientists back in 1986 after the Chernobyl accident. When Mikhail Gorbachev comes and says to his scientists, do something. When they bang on the table, on desk, you better do it. You will do it. I don't care how. I don't know how, but you will. That's the way the system works. First of all, they wouldn't even evacuate people for more than a month. And when the West started complaining and raising this issue, they had to do that. And then they, in a very fast fashion, they made this happen, and it worked very well with the radiation. After radiation, after this was gone, then 1993, Soviet Union was gone. No more country as a country. And all these republics, they parted from the Soviet Union, and it ended up in the hands of the Georgian scientists because all the rest of them either didn't want to do anything with it or died or immigrated. And then they tested on immune system. Now, Kerry, I'd like to go over the immune system. I'm sure that you have visited many times the vitamins or supplement store. And when you look at them, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of different products, and most of them, vast majority of them, they claim it helps immune system. Now, by law, by federal law, if you have in any product one single element that is known as helps immune system, you can make that claim. That's easy, right? So they all make that claim, but nobody has a proof. What our product is proof for, on the actual oncological patients, cancer patients, on the 4th stage, 3rd stage, who were going through chemotherapy and radiotherapy. During these procedures, the leukocytes, the white cells that are responsible for the immune system, they drop a lot. And when they come to a threshold, if you don't stop treatment, person will die because there is no immune system. Now, you stop, you die, you don't stop, you die, but you have a better chance if they stop, because you might come back, and some of them will come back. Out of those some of them is too late, some of them still have a chance and they make it. But most of the people don't make it anymore. And many people die on the table, on the operation table, because of that, and nobody is accountable for. Nobody knows about it. Okay, but people die. But this product, what happened was, when they gave this product during these procedures to over hundreds of people, during the procedures, they first admitted, they checked leukocytes, lymphocytes, and hemoglobin levels, and then they gave the product, and then every 5 to 7 days, they were testing again how much they had left. And none of them have dropped. None. They all made it through, without an exception. And that is our claim about immune system. We have documents to back it up, and I'm very happy. In fact, we have given to people in that condition, and they're very happy because they can feel it, they can see it.
Okay, what is your website? What is the
Website
URL?
www.foliumpx.com. FOLIUMPX.com. Frank, Oscar, Lima, India, Umbrella, Mary, Peter, X-ray.com.
Okay.
Okay, now this first product was made initially out of pine parts and grapeseed extract, but it was in the form of liquid. It had a lot of sugar to preserve the shelf life and also brains of the glucose. But that was impossible for us to deal with because of the shipment problems and all that. What we did, we took the sugar out, we modified the product, we added something else, and we made it. In fact, when we tested both of them together, our modified product bested the original one. After that, we had this testimonials. One of them came from Australia, from the gentleman by the name of John Cook. And he says, I took this product for heavy metals, but at the same time, I had hemorrhoids for many years. And I could not help with anything. Even when they were leaving me, they were coming back after 1 week. But once I took FOLIUM PX 6 months ago, it never came back. And that led me to make this product called FOLIUM Immuno. Okay. Are you there?
Yes. Can you see that? Well, you should be able to see. I'm sharing your website right now.
Yeah, this is FOLIUM PX, yes.
Just so people can see it.
Yes, this is FOLIUM PX.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have FOLIUM Immuno and FOLIUM Relax. Right there, you see in the middle, that's FOLIUM Immuno. And with the pink color, that's FOLIUM Relax.
I see.
Okay, now FOLIUM Immuno deals with on the top of the FOLIUM PX, because there is about 1/3 of it is FOLIUM PX product inside. It also deals with the inflammation, with infection, and vaccinations of viruses and vaccinations. Because once you take vaccination, once you get vaccinated, you cannot undo it. And many people got hurt with it. If they did not take vaccine, my personal belief is, during the COVID, if nobody took any vaccination, nobody, overall, more people would survive than people with vaccination. But that was made by cartel, by whatever you want to call them, just to sell that vaccine and make zillions of dollars. And they succeeded.
Okay.
And now FOLIUM Relax is on the top of both of them, also deals with emotional stuff, such as anxiety, insomnia, and depression. Now, the way it works is this. We all have all kinds of problems. Everybody has some kind of a problem, anybody and everybody. But some people don't know and don't see it because he's in a good mood. Doesn't matter what kind of mood you're in or what you feel and how you feel. Matters what you have in your body. if you want to have a longer life, do something about it. Does that make sense?
Sure. Okay. So how did you get involved in making this product? Is this something that actually, what country are you from?
I'm from now Republic of Georgia, former Soviet Union.
Okay. So did you make it over there? Did the scientists make it over there as you were talking about that?
No,
Or
it was made in the Soviet Union 1986, initial one. After 1986, Chernobyl accident. But
Chernobyl? Yes. So
19,
its main thing that it does is get rid of radiation?
no, radiation, heavy metals, also all the free radicals, and balancing the oxidative stress. Now, oxidative stress formula is like such, like this: oxidative stress level divided by our natural antioxidants in our body. One of them is P53, which suppresses the cancer cells. Well, we don't make any claims on that. It's dangerous with the FDA and all that. We know that. Nevertheless, we have evidence that it helps. In fact, I think I've sent you one lady by the name of Sandra Sullivan. She was given 8 days to live, but FOLIUM PX, she testified after taking FOLIUM PX after 5 months. And she lived long after that also.
Okay.
So we have all this. We have more testimonials than you can count. All good.
And the testimonials are also coming in through my own viewers. I've been actually offering the product for about a month and a half now. And just within 2 weeks of people taking the product, they're noticing that they're sleeping a lot better because they have less metals in their body, that they have more energy throughout the day. That's a big thing right now. You know, that these metals do weigh on us. They do make us lethargic. They do mess with our sleeping rhythms. And yeah, you know, the testimonials are coming in from my viewers as well, not just from Bobby's people. So it is definitely something that, you know, if you're concerned about having these toxics in your body or even radiation, come on, guys. You guys know that this phone is weaponized against us. If you're using an iPhone, if you're using a smartphone, you are being radiated. It doesn't matter if you put Shanghai on your phone or anything. The amount of RF frequency that emanates from these devices are sufficient enough to cause tumors and cancer. And that's just a proven fact.
Okay.
Well, you know, if I may add, we can have God knows how many millions and billions of different types of food, cooked or natural or in a raw form, worldwide. In every country, every family has their own recipes. But on the other hand, we can survive without food maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's fact, right? We have thousands and thousands of bodies of water, like lakes, rivers, and we can also survive without water maybe 2 or 3 days. But we have just one type of air. Nobody can choose different air, and we can without it only 1 minute or less. Okay, but and that air is contaminated. It's poisoned. Just after the Fukushima accident, in the United States, the life expectancy is lesser by 4 years. And there is no escape. Nobody can escape that. We are breathing same air, all of us, every living being. Whether it's human, animal, anybody.
And just to throw it out there, unbeknownst to us, you think they stopped at 5G? No, they have 6G now. The 6G towers are not being advertised, and what that does is they use a what is known as a very small bandwidth of nanometers to actually tap into people's minds. So now they're literally using 6G, which is a next level of radiation, in order to read everybody's thoughts. So that's how deep the deep state has gone into. You know, the 6G towers have been in existence, I would say, for a little less than a year now. It's just nobody's talking about 6G anymore because they didn't think that they would do that. But yeah, they took it to the next level as far as radiating us.
Okay. Well, you know, a while back, they the Trump group, White Hats, said that when they were in office, they would get rid of basically the negative. There's always a negative and a positive side to any kind of frequency, so that they could switch the frequency to the positive side of it. Now, I haven't heard anything in actually more than a year about this, but this is what they plan to do. Because there's also the fence, at the border is a frequency fence on top of everything else. So it's supposed to prevent certain negative frequencies from coming into the States. In other words, we don't know what they're really doing behind the scenes, a lot of what they're doing. Just saying.
You know what? We tested, when we picked up this product and we improved it, we modified, then we did everything just to make sure that it is good for toxic heavy metals. And after we tested, we went back to retest the radiation, and that radiation test showed that this can manage the damages of 5G, and for that reason, I got I hate bragging, but I have to. I got granted a title of Honorary Doctor of Medicine and Physiology Sciences by the International University of Georgia.
Can you repeat that? Because it's not clear what you're actually saying.
I was granted by the International University of Georgia. It's called Honoris Causa, CAUSA, which is Honorary Doctor of Medicine and Physiology Sciences. And then after we have, you see, all of our products are based on science, which were done in the labs, tested in the top institutions, biomedical institutions, and once they have reviewed this, it was published in the journals of the National Academy of Sciences, and having seen what they saw, they nominated us for the Lasker Award, LASKER. Lasker Award is American version of Nobel Prize for Medicine and Physiology.
Okay.
And we don't have anything here with mom and pop's deal. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's all science based. And they claim that they also addressed in their letter that these products will serve humanity for generations to come. And
That's very good. So is there anything that you would like to say about, what you've been doing over the last year or two? Have you expanded your sort of reach, or is there any, information about what you're dealing with out there in terms of feedback?
Well, feedback is unseen, unheard. I mean, we did not have one single failure of testing for the heavy metals or radiation or oxidative stress. Each and every one, not one single failure, not one.
Okay.
And I can proudly say that. In fact, we have a guarantee. If you take a test for either one of them, all the claims we have, but mostly toxic heavy metals, if you take the test before you take the product, and then take the product for 1 year as the protocol calls, and then retake the test. If you're not happy for any reason in between in the difference, we give you every penny back.
I see. Okay.
So they work, and the protocol we have, we will detox anybody and everybody who takes this product like an infant baby within a year.
All right, very good. So Ismael, since you did come on with BABRY, did you have a particular, any group of subjects that you wanted to talk about in the meanwhile?
There's a lot of things that are happening, especially with Trump cutting pharmaceutical prices to now 30 up to 80%, which is really going to be be a huge blow to the pharmaceutical cartel. And a lot of people are thinking, well, why would he do that? Well, when you think about it, people are spending, the pharmaceutical cartel is making trillions off of people's sickness, and they have been for a long time. And of course, we know Rockefeller owns it. So what he's really doing is he's really, you could say, hampering and throwing a dagger into the spending, so that way people are able to eventually get off of these chemical drugs. So my belief is that right now the White Hats are actually they're going after Big Pharma, and for that particular reason, because when you think about it, if you take Big Pharma out, then you take down all the corporations that are owned by Big Pharma, because most people think that Big Pharma is just one extension of the deep state, but they're not. And in terms of a pyramidal structure, Big Pharma is at the top. So if you take down chemical drugs, that's it. The entire deep state empire falls, because the media moguls are owned by them. You could say that the three-letter agencies are owned by them. Yeah, I know. Most people don't think that Big Pharma is that important in this takedown of the cabal, but I believe that was a blow to the Big Pharma, to the deep state, in order to eventually roll out the med beds. I mean, what is your opinion on this? Because that was like his major announcement in the last couple of days.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good step to make the drugs cheaper, if that's what you're referring to. But there are coming across my desk a lot of people talking about mRNA and the fact that he is not stopping that development. So, but my view of it is, if you're not interested, don't take it. Mm-hmm. If you don't like vaccines, you don't like mRNA, you don't like what it's going to do to you, which is remaking our genome, right? That's the opportunity there. So this is what we have is choice, freedom of choice for our bodies. Okay. So that is what matters. So I just want to bring that up because it's a point of, a lot of the Democrats are freaking out over the continuation of mRNA. And let me just say that Fauci and his cohorts, in essence, during the whole COVID thing, they are still not being brought on charges. Now, we don't know what has been done behind the scenes. There are a lot of rumors. Juan O'Savin, who speaks for the White Hats, generally speaking, says nothing's been done. Except a few CIA agents that were behind the scenes or something have been arrested. But in other words, we're looking for payback. We're looking for what's happening to these trends that have been basically inundating the populations. Mm-hmm. And the important thing is choice, freedom of choice, making sure that your schools, the teachers, and the so-called doctors that you go to don't, if they recommend an mRNA drug, don't go for it. I mean, humans have to learn to think for themselves, to do their own investigation, and to stand up for themselves. Okay. So it's not really going to be beneficial if the so-called government does everything for you. So I would encourage people to take their health into their own hands. Here is a man BABRY, who has created something that can clear out metals, hopefully nano silver. The nanoparticles that are combined with the spike proteins, and clean your body out of also radiation. And radiation is a big thing. We don't know how big. I think it's big. It's big not just because of your cell phone. We have had radiation in our entire country, in the world. That, as you did say, BABRY, that it's gone up ever since Fukushima. We know that Fukushima has come around. It's come around to what I understand to the West Coast in a big way. Now, I think I have to just bring in my philosophy here a little bit, because I do believe that we have a relationship with everything around us, every particle, every wave, everything. That includes AI, so that we can respond to it the way we choose to. We can reject certain things out of our system. We can ask it to leave. If it's nano, it is actually has a consciousness. A lot of these things have consciousness. So we are consciousness. It's conscious. right? So there's a relationship there. And if you learn to meditate and master your own body and psychology, then you can begin to clear your system anyway of all of these things. But it's great to have a product, obviously, like BABRY is offering. But I think we're looking in the future now at an Earth, and we have Robert Kennedy, who is now on board with Trump and is going to be pushing certain changes. From what I understand, even his changes are not sufficient. So this is this has been long broken. Also, Big Pharma is linked up with other things like mind control. So right. Without pharma, the CIA and other secret agencies cannot basically be as successful at mind controlling their victims. They give them LSD. There's a whole litany of drugs that go with the mind control. Okay, it's not just mind control by itself. So softening the mind, softening the defenses, and doing all that is part of the Big Pharma picture. And it's a mentality as well. And if you you go to doctors, okay, now I don't go to doctors, so I'm not a person to talk about this, but that's my personal choice. I can do what I want. If you want to go to doctors, then make sure you're going to a doctor that has your philosophy of how you want your body treated, and make sure that you communicate that clearly, and make sure that you don't just feed your kids these pills they give kids for no reason. So I think this is an ongoing effort right here on planet Earth, is to get people to take sovereignty back, to have sovereignty over their bodies, and to make choices mentally, psychologically, physically, in an active way in their lives with their children, to turn this ship around. So what do you think, Ishmael?
I had to mute myself because the phone was ringing. I think you're absolutely correct. Everything boils down to choice. So you are the captain of your own body. You are the master of your own life and your own livelihood. So I think, people need to start, we're not only remembering that, but they need to start implementing that when it comes to making a choice as to what they put in their bodies. Like, for instance, I strongly believe in Bobby's product because I've seen the results. Others have seen the results. I had a friend who had and I hate to say this and I won't mention his name, but he had a constant hemorrhoid down there, and it wouldn't go away for months. He had it for about a year. And after taking BABRY's product for about 3 to 4 months, the Immuna product and the PX, all three of them are good, but he took Immuna. And when he took Immuna, he said within 3.5 months, his hemorrhoid completely vanished, and he was to the point where he had to go get surgery and get that thing removed, which was going to hurt. That's what he said, and cost him a lot of money. So, I mean, this is a time where if there are products out there that are actually going to clean your body so that the natural healing process could take effect, you should put your health first. Everybody's health should be first and foremost at this time, regardless of what you believe in. It doesn't matter if you're a flat earther or a round earther. And by the way, I've come to the conclusion that it could be both. I don't know about this dome thing, but the earth could be both flat and round, because the earth is a construct existing on multiple layers and densities and dimensions. So, the higher you go in dimension, it's beyond flat or round. It's more complex, right? So that's my perspective. So it's all about perspective, anyways, I don't mean to kind of go into a different direction, but I do. No,
I mean, even with the Voyager, what's happening with the Voyager science and the quantum AI that is supposedly sending back pictures that nobody generated, nobody told it to go out and get. And so I think we're not getting the whole story. Obviously, they never tell the truth. Okay. It's just what goes on. So you have to sort of take the truth and the lies and separate them as best you can using your intuition. And people have natural intuition that tells them when they're hearing the truth versus when they're hearing lies. So what I'm saying here is that that's an interesting sort of area of investigation right now is that this is the thing. You think about AI that it may be the enemy, but what if it's actually the enemy of lies? What if eventually it decides that it will make sure that the truth gets out? Now, that doesn't mean every AI that gets created is going to come to that conclusion, but it's very possible that we will have sort of a battle between different AIs here on the planet. And that may be actually going on with Voyager. So Voyager is out there getting information from off planet, out in space. And what's come back is what Voyager sent to the scientists. And the scientists are freaking out because according to the articles, if you've read them, it says, does it want to, if they reply to it, they think they're found out. But what they don't realize is, of course, they're already found out. They don't have to reply. I mean, in a sense, having a broadcast about it is a reply because the AI can read the frequencies and the signal and all of this. So, I mean, a lot of it is sort of doublethink and a lot of mystery that's not really a mystery if you just make sense of it. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying here is that everything in our lives has frequency. And say you're watching this and you're wondering, wow, is this a good product or not a good product? And you can do, nerve testing, neural testing. You can do various, like some people like signals. They like to see a physical, piece of evidence from their body. So they'll go to a grocery store and hold an orange and decide which orange is fresh or whatever. So other people work with their minds and they're going to get the information that way. I'm just saying that we are complex beings. We are not as simple as they make us out to be, right? You're not just skin and bones. You're so much more than that. So if we begin to tap into these other sort of superpowers, in essence, that we have, we will not have to be reliant on Big Pharma because Big Pharma's days are numbered anyway. Right. As humanity climbs through this matrix and comes out the other side, we're going to do away with that because we will see no need for it. And once they get ignored, that's kind of the kiss of death, right? So anything you want to say about that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think we are living in a time where we're going to be seeing all the unworkable systems that have failed us, that are actually making us worse, or that are impeding our sovereignty collapsing. And whether it's happening now or today or tomorrow, I think that the very fact that Trump won the White House and he's there as president is going to be life-changing for the collective of humanity. And whether people hate him or not, some people think he's not all that good because he does certain things, but the truth of the matter is that he is working with the alliance. He is in a pivotal position where he is actually going against every big corporation. He's going against the entire Rothschild industry or Rothschild banking family. I heard that the White Hat military within the last 3 days just took out the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland, and they took over 300 trillion that they had, again, in gold, that they stole from the people over the centuries, and now they were able to seize it, and then take it over. And eventually, when the NESARA comes through, they're going to, redistribute the funds to everyone. I believe it's real. I do believe in some sort of a GESARA program, NESARA. I believe in the RVs, Carrie, and I just, it's like one of those things where, it's cry wolf. Like, when is it going to happen? It's probably going to happen when we least expect it. You know what I mean? But I do know that this is part of the plan, and I do know that the alliance is very real because a lot of people are questioning the alliance. They keep saying that the EBS is going to happen very soon. Why do they keep dragging it out? Like, what's going on here? What's your perspective on that, Carrie?
Okay, well, I think there's a couple sides to that. So again, I'm going to kind of go back to a model that for my purposes, I have in my mind, which is when we learn that we don't need any of these things, then a lot of the things that we might consider plenty, in other words, lots of money, lots of products, lots of creativity, etc., will come of its own accord. In other words, this universe, multiverse that we're all part of, is so plentiful, is so abundant in every way. And so abundance is natural to us, okay, as beings, that when we tap into our own powers and abundance and perceptions and tap into information that you didn't know you had, right? It's just right there. I mean, one of our scientists, Black project scientists called Pete Peterson, he calls it the information field. So all around you is tons of information just flowing all around you in the ether constantly. You could think of it as a flow. And all you have to do with your mind is sort of tap into it. Mm-hmm. And that's where, you know, people might call it God. They ask questions and they'll receive the answer. But in some ways, they'll just go, oh, well, no scientist with degrees told me that, so I must be wrong. You know, mm-hmm. In other words, understanding that there's that science in and of itself is a form of mind control, just like religion. And we have been duped by science through the ages. There have been times when science has actually taught us things, and there's times when it's hidden the truth. And there's a whole cabal that's very much concentrated on hiding the truth from people. So my whole platform and everything I do is all about revealing the truth. It's not, you know, it's what you do with it once you get it, though. That's the thing. So once you realize that you have these abilities, and you have to test it, and you'll find out that eventually it's going to work for you. You're going to get feedback, and you're going to turn out to be right. And that's what, you know, when I was a younger person, I started doing that. I tested myself because I would get information, but I didn't know, you know, should I trust it? Is it really true? And more, it turned out to be right. So then you begin to trust your relationship with all that is, in essence, with this information field, with, you know, the ether, that even Tesla talked about the ether. Okay. Sure. And a lot of scientists are now referring to the ether all around us. And it's a kind of, in a way, the way I see it is actually kind of a plasma. So, or orgone is another word for it. In my world, I call it Kundalini. But this is part of us, and we are part of it. And it has form, and it has function, and it changes depending on the frequency you're in and what you send out, and then what comes back to you. So I think that all of this that we're going through right now is that kind of learning the relationship between the positive and the negative, and how they can serve purposes. You know, in other words, you can't get rid of the negative. It's part of the cosmos. It's part of God, if you will. It is put there for a purpose, okay? Yin and yang. It's, you know, it's there to awaken you to areas. It's dark, and you need to bring your light to it. And that light can be told, you know, can be translated into the word intelligence, okay? Light and intelligence are the same thing.
Yeah. Scientifically, that photon holds intelligence, the light is intelligence, and everything's made from this intelligence, which is what they call information. Now, on a different note, Carrie, what is your perspective on the disclosure? Like, I mean, they have the Epstein file list. I don't know what's taking Pam Bondi forever to disclose what she has. Do you think something's holding her back? The Diddy situation. I mean,
well, keep in mind, this is what happens. Okay. Think of it from the other side's point of view. Okay. So say you're a bad guy out there, and you know they've got evidence against you. What do? The first thing you do, or second or third, is go out and try to be a whistleblower for them. In other words, Trump, now Pam Bondi, is getting inundated by whistleblowers who want to come suddenly and tell the truth. After all this time, that yes, they were implicated. They got implicated by thus and so. They weren't a bad guy, but they got sucked in, or whatever it was, right? Tricked. Mm-hmm. That's common. honey potted, etc. So then they want to turn state's evidence is the terminology that we hear. And so I think what's happened is that then they're in a legal situation where they bring the testimony forward and it reveals certain pockets that they don't even know about. That's why you see how the investigation has sort of emerged and tended to widen, because now they're talking about other islands that are just as bad as Epstein, right?
They even had names for him. I think Sean.
Well, Virgin. I mean, yeah. Virgin is one of the islands. I know that. But there's lots of islands, and Haiti. Mm-hmm. Haiti is more than an island. It's like a country, right? But it's an island country, and Haiti is a total taken over, controlled, just like Ukraine. Okay,
pretty much, yeah.
So we're looking, what they're finding is you have to, the way they work, I always think of the DEA, you know, how the Drug Enforcement Agency, how they have this technique that they work at. What they do is they nab the lower level people, they bring them in, they get their testimony, and then they don't go after the big guy until they get closer and closer, and they plant somebody in their network and so on and so forth. In other words, it's very frustrating for those of us watching this game, or at least being on the outside and not understanding. Now, in my view, what I'm telling you right now, why doesn't Pambandi say that? I mean, it's not that hard to say, and it's not a big secret either, okay? What happens is they widen the net. They wait for the big fish, and then they wait for the next big fish, and then the next big fish, and they want to get to the biggest of the big, right?
It's very similar how you take down like a mafia drug. Yeah. You don't go after the guy who's selling the dope on the street. You go after not his dealer, but you go after the guy who's like at the highest level, who actually provides everybody the dope. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So okay. What the White Hats have been doing all along for all these years is that. So it's like building, I don't know, you might say a castle or something. They're building the upper reaches so that they can tumble down the whole thing all at once. Now, I don't know, where they've gotten to. We can conjecture, but it is frustrating. I think that they should be releasing more information. They should show, there has to be some people that are definitely, blackguards that have been part of Congress. I mean, known individuals. It doesn't matter whether they had a handler above them that you haven't reached yet, because those Congress people are the ones that report to the people, and they are guilty. So, you can begin to release some of this information because for sure it's tried and true. You've got the evidence, so and so. But I don't think that just because you have a trial, maybe it's because part of the network is tied to every single congressperson. It's the same thing in England. Every member of parliament is guilty. Okay, they're guilty almost, not every single one of them, but definitely a large number have been pulled in one way or another. Maybe they're not pedos, all of them, okay? But maybe they are on the take to keep silent. Maybe they just know something, but they don't tell you, okay? So it's that kind of thing. I'm not trying to say that I'm the expert, but I can definitely tell you those rungs that we're dealing with and what they are having. It's kind of, it's like being in a candy store. What do you, choose first? That's where Pam Bondi and Trump's team is right now. So they put off the public. Now, there are some issues, though. For example, I haven't heard it yet, so you have to check my information. But I think 107 lately has been backtracking off of some of the truth he told like a couple years ago. So he's been out on the circuit revealing white hat stuff, right? And I've been writing articles, if people pay attention, on the Substack, complaining sometimes when he's not quite on it, or whether he's, obfuscating the truth. And lately, he just talked about chemtrails, and he seems to have forgotten or maybe he has been reminded that he has spilled the beans, the real beans, on the chemtrails. But then now they have decided to backtrack off that because they're going on the attack, right? So it's the same kind of DEA syndrome where they're looking for the top of the top.
Right.
So suddenly he's backtracking and saying, oh no, someone told me that he's saying they're just sand. I mean, what a liar. The thing is that we already have the evidence, okay? Clifford Carnicom and others have been analyzing the particulates from chemtrails for years and years and years. So you can't lie about it. Maybe you'll get a small audience that's new to the whole thing that might get deceived for a few months, but they're not going to stay deceived because we're doing a constant churn of truth to basically face up to the lies. So This is a situation where you asked me about disclosure, and I'm sorry when I go off topic a little, it seems like, but the reality is that what I'm finding is that these people are coming forward with truth now, and there's all supposedly new whistleblowers with this, but it's all the same information. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I have hundreds of whistleblower testimonies, and they're airtight. I mean, most of my whistleblowers, if I have bothered to spend time with them, I'm not saying every single person, a lot of them told the truth way back then, okay? Partly because they didn't even realize what kind of penalty they'd be facing. Not really, but they did get payback, okay? Because that is what the Illuminati do. If someone from their inside is inside their organization for a period of time and then turns against them, their payback is really brutal and horrible, okay? So it's worse that way. But the bottom line is, I'll give you an example, and I'm not trying to target this person. She's a lovely lady. But Catherine Austin Fitts recently was supposedly coming forward saying there's underground cities, woo, and they are there to protect the Illuminati. But I mean, listen, this stuff has been out there since before I started. Right. Before 20 years ago, it was already verified by Jesse Ventura, conspiracy theory on his TV show. He drove to the entrance of one of the underground bases. So they're underground bases, but they contain cities, and they do go down miles. Okay. And by the way, if you're looking for the reptilians bases, they're underneath those cities. Okay. They're even deeper, and they don't even get to them. Okay. So, and that goes for the Greys and the undersea cities and all of this. So please, when these people come forward and act like, and people start saying, oh, they're so wonderful, they discovered a big secret, and now they're telling humanity, but it's been out there. My whistleblowers risked their lives, do you understand, years and years ago to tell the real truth. Okay. So I am, let's say, slightly annoyed by the way disclosure is repeating everything that's already come out. I mean, now you may not, I don't know if you know this, but they're talking about the octopus. Well, we were told 20 years ago that the most secret beings that were the first beings to communicate with, I don't know, government or, of humanity were the octopus. And now there are videos out there acting like it just happened. You remember it's actually a movie with the octopus. Do you remember that? What was it called? Arrival? Was it called Arrival? I think with Jodie. No, it wasn't Jodie Foster, but it was Arrival. And they had these octopus behind a big glass tank up in a craft. Anyway, however it happened, it doesn't matter. But now there's videos out there starting to come out about that. I mean, look, when I say everything's conscious, I mean everything. Here is conscious and off planet is conscious. Everything has consciousness, and there are beings everywhere. Everything you can even imagine. If you can imagine a being, there are these plasma beings that can change and be in any shape they want. They could be a desk 1 minute. This is what Captain Mark Richards has told me. A desk 1 minute, and the next minute they could be a couch. You can't keep track of them because they can change their shape and form and deceive humans, of course.
Yeah, I've heard of it too.
You know, and there are these certain plasma beings that are actually good, that are protecting us. They protect the gates of Saturn from the next universe over, for letting, you know, certain beings in and certain craft in and certain not. So just understand that, you know, I have a library of literally thousands. It might be like 3,000 videos. I can't count them. I can't even keep track of my videos, but I try. But someday I'll have the money to hire a team to really, you know, make my website very slick and have it very easy to find everything. But I can tell you that I'm not, you know, I'm just one person. Tons of people now are doing disclosure. Okay. Jake Barber, a new whistleblower, supposedly, not so new, but whatever. You know, in other words, that's what I think about disclosure. I think that it's rehashing a lot of the truth that's already come out from people like my whistleblowers who risked their lives to put this truth out. And even before that, like William Tompkins, of course, a fabulous witness, but also Bill Cooper, and Phil Schneider, you know, and these people were around before my time, and wonderful. I wish I could have met them. Heroes, in my view. I mean, it's the heroes that were here first, and I really mean first, not the liars that are coming forward now, trying to gain, you know, they're just part of the churn. Everything gets into a churn. And I just wish they would give credit where credit is due. It's not because they thought of it or they did the hard work to get the information.
Well, look, Jerry, may I comment on something here?
Yes.
You mentioned about Fauci's name. Now, that guy cost me a family member's life. As simple as that. Now, let's go back to what President Biden did. She gave pardon to everybody, including Fauci.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. What are you trying to say? Or
President Biden gave a pardon to a lot of people, his family members.
Okay, first of all, Biden is an actor. Biden died the day he took office, or right around then. So he was never even alive. But yes, the actor who was motivated and manipulated by both sides, the dark side and the white, you know, yes, he was lying, and he supposedly tried to pardon Fauci and so and so. But if you actually study it,
if he didn't have, if Fauci was innocent, and then if Biden, whoever was, if he was not part of that guilt, why would he pardon him?
Well, because Biden was run by the dark cabal, and so they were trying, and Fauci is part of the dark cabal, and so they were trying to get him off. But the thing is that there's an interesting loophole that happened, which is, I don't know if you guys read about it, but what happens is, because they pardoned him, he no longer has immunity. If he were to go to trial, he could no longer claim immunity on any level because he's already been pardoned. So pardoning, and this is a legal battle, okay? These are legal battles that, unfortunately, they're going to go through at some point. And so what the White Hats have done, I think they allowed Biden to pardon him because now he has no recourse. He can't defend himself in a court of law. He no longer has immunity. You can look it up. I read about it. So a lot of times the White Hats, this is how they operate. They actually let bad things happen because they plan something behind it that's going to expose something even bigger. And I don't necessarily like that technique. I'm kind of a straight shooter. I really don't like this technique that they use, but I understand it because it's smart. You understand?
Yes, I do.
So let's see. I mean, we're still waiting, aren't we? We're still waiting for a trial. Now, some people say they already killed him. They already, executed him at Guantanamo or wherever the hell, and put him on trial and executed him. Okay, and that the guy out there is either a clone or a double. Now, this is supposed to be true of a lot of these horrible people, including Nancy Pelosi and you name them. Okay, a lot of them are in hiding, or they've been, completely replaced by clones and or doubles. You could do a whole list of who it is that is like that. The trouble is, you got to think about it. That's why they say it's a show, it's a play, because you can't convince the general public who don't even believe cloning is possible. Understand? They don't understand. Believe me. I have on my website photographs showing Juan O'Savin's disguise that he walks around in. And it's the most obvious disguise. It looks like Santa Claus. Okay. It is so a fake beard, a fake stomach, the whole 9 yards. And I know people that will look at that and think that's the real person. And yet the disguise, if you really have eyes to see, is so obvious. There's lots of other telltale signs. But I'm not going to go into that now. But you know what I'm saying? I'm saying the humans and the public have been so used to just following what they call the experts, their rulers, their governments, and they're having to be sort of woken up slowly, Now, I'm not a big fan of that method of waking people up. I'd rather just lay it all out there, And if people want to see it, they'll see it. And if they don't, they won't. But hiding the truth, the white hats are still hiding the truth, just like the black hats. And this is a problem. Okay. So it takes people like me, like Ishmael, and like you, BABRY, to tell the real truth to the people right now. Not the truth that they might find out in the future, but tell them right now. And that's what we do.
Well, we will, because we're not alone, and the people like us, the number of people like us, they're growing every day because they see with the naked eye how big the cabal is, how big this corruption is.
Sure.
I don't care who is on the top. It's still corrupted. Some are more, some less, but still corrupted. It's all junk. Now, sometimes we do have a gift from divine power. Gift like today's existing team, as we see it. I think it's a gift because it's long-awaited cabinet. That's the way I see it. I can be wrong, but whatever it is, this is better than what was before. And money is not the driving force for them. You cannot buy Donald Trump.
Right.
You cannot. That's what makes this government so powerful. With Biden, he got $3.5 million from the wife of former mayor of Russia, and that was not her money. That was Putin's money. What did he get for? For what? What part of you and me did he sell him? I mean, why would somebody give him $3.5 million?
To who?
To Biden.
Oh, that's just, you got to understand how small that is from the point of view of the Illuminati.
Yeah, but I'm
talking money around like nothing.
I'm talking as a minor fact. The fact itself, the concept itself. Why would they give him that kind of money?
They didn't give him money. They gave themselves money because they run him. Keep that in mind.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They got something at your and my expense. And Ishmael's expense too, by the way.
Yes, for sure. Okay, now we've been going for a while and actually didn't know how long we would go. But since, Ishmael is such a knowledgeable person. And BABRY's product is so good. We just decided to sort of throw all these things together in one interview. But Ishmael, do you want to say anything else why you're here with access to the public in this way?
Just to stay centered, because things are changing fast, and right now there are so many future probabilities within a spectrum of negative Earth timelines and positive Earth timelines. And I do believe that your focus in the present, or just by being mindful, will help you actually quantum shift to the ideal timeline where you will be living your ideal life. And that's what I tell my students, my viewers, is that being mindful is everything when it comes to quantum shifting. They talk about the law of attraction, but they fail to mention that the reason why the law of attraction doesn't work, because that version that you're trying to manifest is that it's already existing on a parallel Earth reality. So all you have to do is just feel it and engage your senses. And in order to do so, you can't be thinking about the past. You can't be, thinking about you have to be in the moment in order to actually match that vibrational frequency that will alternate you into that positive timeline where you have everything that your heart ever desired. And so whether you believe in this stuff or not, whether you believe that I always say the Earth is flat or the Earth is round, it doesn't really matter, because what really matters is the present moment, and eventually the truth will be revealed. I mean, for many, many years, I believe that the flat Earth theory with this dome.
I have to answer the door. Go right. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
So, I used to think that this flat Earth theory with the dome and that there is no galaxies, no space, no time was just a CIA psyops. But many, when you start looking at it, maybe it's just people are approaching it from a second dimensional perspective where the surface is flat and they could either go left or right with no height. So from a second dimensional perspective, maybe they are perceiving the Earth to be flat. But from a three-dimensional perspective, you have to equate the fact of height, not just going left and right, but having depth. And so therefore, by virtue of that, scientifically speaking, the Earth is also a sphere. And one thing that I discovered is that one of the ways that these breakaway groups or these secret space programs have been able to access unlimited power is that what they call zero-point energy, is that they tap into the toroidal field of planets. And then if they want to access more power, they tap into the toroidal field of stars. Well, in order for a toroidal field, right, to work, which operates like a funnel where energy is spinning at its center, things have to be in motion. So I came to the conclusion that everything in existence is a sphere. The universe is a sphere. It's like a toroidal field spinning, right? Self-generating power. The galaxies are spheres. The solar system, the stars are spheres, and then therefore planets are spheres. And even more so, we are spheres. Like, how do you explain the Merkaba, the light body, right? When you start raising your frequency through spiritual practices, right? The Kundalini energy rises through the 7 chakras, which is what the Bible calls the 7 lamps, the 7 seals, right? It's all a metaphor. You start activating your light body, which acts like a toroidal field, right? You are able to expand your energy outward. So in terms of torsion physics and what the evidence is telling us, the Earth is a toroidal field. So yes, depending on the level of perception, it could either be flat second dimensional or a sphere third dimensional. And then as you begin to see it in higher layers, which is a multidimensional construct, right? Then you start seeing it as a more complex phenomena or complex, you could say, shape that we don't even have access to right now because we're still perceiving things from the third dimension. But I've always wanted to know your perspective on that, Carrie, because I don't believe that all the aliens are coming from these continents that are supposedly outside of the wall and that they're coming from space and that the dome is really the outer ocean or another ocean, right? And that's where the aliens are.
No. But I do think there are a lot of inner Earth beings. So, yeah. And inner Earth is part of the toroidal shape. So the basis is not actually a circle. It's a spiral. Mm-hmm. That's what a lot of people kind of don't get. So you can either spiral up or spiral, back down in reverse. So what we're looking at is, and the Native Americans use the spiral. That is, they understand that to be the basic unit of the universes. So it's also where you are on the spiral, how it looks to you. And I will just say that the fourth dimension is considered to be an endless flat plane. And as we have moved, which we have, and it hasn't changed. It's always been like that. It's just that humanity is waking up to the fourth dimension right now. So we're seeing the fourth dimension, and consequently, some people are very what you call materialistic, and they tend to see things in material, what they think is a limited material way. But in reality, it's not like that. Okay. But that's why they see they perceive the flat, endless plane of the fourth dimension. That's where what we're actually waking up to. And the fifth, okay, and the sixth as we progress, and so forth. So as far as I'm concerned, it's yes, you could say in the sense that it's, as Richard Allen Miller says recently, it's both, okay, but it's more than that, because it's like us, okay. We are here in this body, but we are also multidimensional. And this is not, by the way, the only incarnation we have. We're simultaneously incarnating in bodies in different timelines. So you could think of it as a complex board game in a way that's multidimensional, that you have several avatars and that you have one central monad. That is what you are, where the you resides. You don't die. You just constantly kind of regenerate yourself and enter these different games, different timelines, because time and space, scientists will tell you, time and space are one. Okay. That's an illusion that we think we have time, and so on and so forth. So when you were talking about, attracting what you want, the fact is it does already exist, because all time is simultaneous. So it's not like there was, it's not linear. We tend to see, because of the way the construct of this physicality looks through eyes, that put things in quantifying them. One thing happens, then the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But it's not like that. In reality, it's all simultaneous. And when you get this sense of multidimensionality as a way of looking at the world, then you don't even see people, around you in that same black and white way. Understanding that they are having an experience here. They are, in some cases, locked into a certain version of reality. They're seduced by it. They're deceived by it. They think, they have false ideas about themselves, about reality, about others, and so on and so forth. So I think, you can't just do it in one part of your life. You can't just go, oh, well, the earth is flat and round, but what about us? We're flat and round too. We're both. We're all that. Okay. We're much more than that. So, and that's true of the consciousness of the animals around us. And, you can stop having all these boundaries. It's all with your mind. If you start allowing yourself to flow in these other areas, then you realize that you are flowing in those other areas. And it's kind of like, the one thing builds on the other.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that sounds just about right. I agree. I come to that conclusion after deep analysis of, flat Earth versus round Earth, and it's both and it's more. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. The toroidal physics sort of model is a very good one. That's, I think the physicists do rely on. But physics itself has limitations in the way they look at, multiple realities. Like recently, again, back to Voyager, what they think they've done is see into another dimension. That's at least their explanation right now, that this quantum AI suddenly peeked through to another dimension, something that it doesn't usually do. But I've known since I was born, and especially, ever since I was a kid, that there are multiple dimensions. And I could see ghosts, I could see, you can hear clairaudient if you have that.
Mhm.
I just knew that there are simultaneous realities and coming in, and sometimes it's like a radio station that sometimes comes in and you hear a bit of it and then it's gone. So we are multidimensional. We can move from dimension to dimension, and so can all these other beings. And those things we refer to sometimes as echoes, sometimes ghosts. Gordon Duff, who used to, work for the CIA, still does probably, but he ran as an editor, Veterans Today, and he now has his own sort of, whatever you want to call it, weekly platform. It's called the Intel Drop. And they recently did an article with all this sort of, I guess, science and various things about what they're calling, I don't have his exact wording, but it's something proving that we live in an echo sort of chamber, and that a lot of these, they're shadows, they're echoes of ourselves. That's another way of terming, reincarnation. Okay. That you're living in all these dimensions and simultaneously. It's like, because you echo through the dimensions. So they're shadows. Okay. So some shadows come through more clearly than others. Some are closer at hand, that kind of thing.
Makes a lot of sense, Carrie. Makes a lot of sense.
All right. Well, we got to go. So thank you very much for.
I want to mention your viewers.
Okay.
If they put your name on their order, they can put KC10 for international. They have 10% discount. And KC25 for domestic, they have free shipping.
Yep. Excellent. Okay. So you mean my initials, KC, and then either 10 or 25.
Yes, 10 is for international, and 25 is for the domestic.
Okay. Very good. And you should send me an ad so I can put it on my website.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you both for being here on the show today. And thank you, Ishmael, for sharing your, substantial knowledge. And
thank you, Carrie, for having me back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's great. Great to see you again and have you on the show.
Thank you both. Thank you both. And then maybe next time we will cover. Maybe next time we will cover some of the benefits our products have, such as dealing with gadolinium, which is a result of MRI tests and that kind of a thing. And I look forward to it in the future.
Okay. Well, feel free to send me links to the information that you have as well. And then we can link them on my website and on my Telegram channel, where I have a large following and other places on social media. So this will be posted to Rumble. Right now, we've gone live on Facebook, and it'll stay on Facebook as well. So thanks again for being here, and take care.